What's up? What's up? What's up? I can't even begin to describe how excited I am to introduce this episode to y'all. I have none other than Jodi Covington, one of the three core members of the Ubersoca Cruise leadership team, and we are talking the Tingz today. So if you have been on Ubersoca Cruise, then you already know the vibes. It's a powerhouse event like none other, and I am so proud to have gone a couple times. I went on the inaugural launch in 2016. I went 2017, and I did like a little hafting in 2019. But in 2019, I actually only did the Juve events because they went to my homeland, my country of Turks and Caicos Islands. I did a little thing for my friends that were on the ship, and I will show you what that was like at the end of the interview. So make sure to tune in, okay? But if you've been on Ubersoca Cruise, then you know that it is pure magic. And like they say, it is an experience beyond the music. And they don't lie. So today we are talking all the things. We're talking about the origin story of Ubersoca Cruise. We're talking about some of the challenges that they've had over the years, especially like during the pandemic. And we're talking about things to come and logistical things that y'all should know so that you can understand what it takes to put on such a massive event. So stay tuned, listen, take notes, and get excited because their 10th sailing is coming up in 2024.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Hey, Jodi.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to hop right in. And if you could do me a favor and introduce yourself to our audience, tell them your name, which organization you're representing, which country you're representing, all of that good stuff.
Absolutely. So my name is Jodi Covington. I am representing the country of Bermuda. That is my homeland. Brr, brr, brr.
Whoop, whoop.
I work for the big, the bad, the incredible Uber Soca Cruise, and I'm basically my title in my email is just like Queen of Everything is what we just have given me. I have my hand in pretty much everything to do with USC, but my main focus is marketing and operations and just all around making sure that it's a great event for everyone that attends.
Awesome. Thank you. So before I get into my questions, I do this little game in the beginning. It's this or that. So
Okay.
I'm going to throw out two things and then you tell me which one of those you prefer. And I may or may not ask why, or you can just share why. Okay.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Starting off real easy, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Yes, thank you. What kind? What's your favorite?
Oh my gosh, Old English breakfast tea is my favorite. And I'll tell you why. My grandmother, who recently passed this year, she used to make me this tea when I was a little girl and I woke up before school every day in Bermuda. My grandmother would make this tea for us, and so I wasn't like super into teas, but like as I've grown up, I gravitate to
Hmm.
Old English breakfast. So every time I even see it in a store, when I go to a hotel while I'm traveling, it's like nostalgic for me. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, awesome. I love that. I'm a tea person too. I just have a drawer full of random ones and I've made it my thing now is whenever I go to a different country, I just want to collect the tea, right? Like it used to
right.
be aprons, but I'm like, I think I prefer to just have the tea from the land. So there's this,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, there's a tea from this Trinidadian, I don't even know what they're called, but it's called Carnalia tea. It's so good. It has bay leaf in it, so it's strong.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I like that. All right. We're moving into Fet zone, right? Drinks inclusive or food inclusive?
Oh gosh. Can we not do both? Can we not do both? You know what? It's funny. If I have to answer that question, I would say food inclusive. Like if I go to an event and there's no food, I am irritable. Like I want to eat. So I would prefer food inclusive
Hmm.
personally. Um, and cheers. It just oddly, just I want to be able to sit down and eat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's that's fair. I like that one. And then team iPhone or team Android?
Oh, that's easy. iPhone all the way.
Oh.
Apple products all throughout the house. You're not even allowed to be in my life without an Apple product. I'm just playing.
Oh God. I left Apple a while ago. No, that's not true. I left iPhone specifically. I still have iPad, MacBook, like I love all those, but I can't do iPad. It's
Really?
getting there.
I'm one of those that I'm pretty much a fan.
They got all your phones.
I have all of my Apple devices.
Okay, and last one. Do you like, first of all, do you like sorrow?
No.
Okay. I was like, let me not ask the question because my question was with or without ginger, but you have to know whether or not you like sorrel first. So that, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that that's like a thing in Bermuda.
Mm,
Like, it wasn't just a thing growing up for us. I think it's very like, like a childhood thing and you grow up with it and your family did it. It just wasn't a thing in my household.
hmm
And then I kind of like had it when I was a bit older and I was like, yeah, no, no, thank
yeah.
you.
It wasn't a thing for us in Turks either, but as I've just eaten everywhere, like it was something that I grew up outside of Turks liking, and then I'm like, oh, I can make this thing. So then I started making myself. So then it became a thing as in adulthood, essentially.
Right.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So you ready for my questions?
I am. I'm prepared.
Okay. Well, first of all, so I learned about Ubersoca Cruise in Miami 2015. So you all had a table outside of arrivals that Thursday night. And before then, like cruises never appealed to me. Like I had never been on one. I was never interested in going on one. But when I saw that, I was like, huh, maybe. But of course, there's like that red flag of, okay, this has never happened before. Who are these people? What is this cruise? Is this a scam? So those are all the things that popped in my head when I
Right.
saw the flyers and was hearing about it. And I actually wasn't, I wanted to go, but I was unemployed that like from April to June. And so when
Hmm.
booking was happening, I was like, I don't think it's responsible for me to do this thing,
That's the responsible conversation. I
right?
love it.
And then my friend Melissa kept asking me like each month. And then finally I registered at like the last minute. I was like, you know what? Fine. Let's just do it because I love inaugural things.
Right.
So I ended up going and then it was history from there. So if you can share the Uber Soca Cruise origin story with us, like how did it come about? Like who came up with the idea? All of that.
Sure. So first, I will say, like, thank you to you and the brave souls that are like you that did come that first year. It was individuals like yourself that made that first year so epic for us. So thank you for your support and your trust,
Hmm
blind trust, because that was our first time doing it. So the USC story is always is like near and dear to my heart. It's very like funny for us internally. USC is made out of like three individuals. Now, the owner and founder is named Nathaniel Turner, and this was his idea. This was his concept. He's had it for years, and it kind of spawned out of him going on a traditional regular cruise, and him, of course, being bored. Not seeing us, not hearing our music, and said this would be great if I had my friends on here and I had my music, and
hmm
we had events that resonated with us. So he kind of set on that idea for several years. He's a successful attorney in Bermuda, and he eventually started researching and decided to secure a entire cruise ship vessel, which is like, who does that? And from there, we ended up. He linked up with a gentleman by the name of Daniel Reese, which was a local promoter in Bermuda, also like huge in terms of the accounting world, is a brilliant mind in his own facet, and he put on a lot of large scale events in Bermuda and had a lot of relationships within the soca community. So it was like Nathaniel met Daniel. Then that in 2015, that was the same year. 2014, 2015 is the same year that my firm really was doing super well. We'd won, best PR marketing firm on island, and just I had my hands in so many different things. So Daniel researched, my firm and introduced Nat to whom I call Nat now, Nathaniel, to me. They called, they scheduled a meeting, and it was so funny because initially, they were like, oh, we would like to speak to you about a new project. They never told me what it was. They said it's a new project and we just want to talk to you about social media and how it works and just ask questions. And I'm like, yeah, okay, no worries. Look, I'm booked and busy at this time. So I'm like, if you need, a consultation, this is my consultation fee. and and they were like, no problem. They paid the fee right there and then. They came in for the consultation and they asked a bunch of questions specifically about social media and just marketing, just very generic questions. I still at that point in time had no idea what they were trying to do. So by the end of the conversation, we built a bit of rapport. It was a funny interaction with all of the questions because they just didn't know like much in that area. And they said, could you do a proposal to assist us with social media, which was the initial ask. And I was like, sure, but what are we doing? Like, they was unwilling to tell me at
Mm-hmm.
that time. I did a proposal a few days later, submitted it. They actually reviewed the proposal and signed the contract. I still had no idea what the project was. I
Wow.
just thought it was basic social media management stuff. I was going to divvy out to my assistant or something. I had no idea what this was about. And, we had our first like onboarding meeting, excited to learn more. And they come to the office and they start saying, okay, we have this concept. It's called Ubersoca Cruise. It's, a cruise. And, it's going to be all soca music, all soca entertainers. And it's going to have 24-hour program. They laid it all out for me. And I'm just like, I am still thinking that they're talking about like a boat ride around the Sound. If you're from Bermuda, like I'm thinking they're talking about like a little boat ride around Harrington Sound or something, right? Like, like a little quick thing. And I'm like, oh, this is super easy. No worries. Say less. And they're like, no, you don't understand. Like, it's a cruise ship. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean it's a cruise ship? It was insane. The idea was so far fetched. And at that point in time, I thought they were joke. Like, I thought it was a joke. I was getting quite irritated because I was just like, this is a complete and utter waste of my time. Like, I know these two individuals sitting in front of me did not charter a, Norwegian cruise ship. Like, that's crazy. So we went back and forth. I'm asking all these questions and they're trying to answer all of my questions. And I'm super confused because I just couldn't comprehend what they were asking me to do. And I said, okay, so like what's been done to date? Like, who is the team? I'm thinking there's a massive team behind them and maybe the social media is just a little piece they need to like, little piece of the puzzle. And they looked at each other and then they looked at me and they said, this is the team. And I said, what do you mean this is the team? He says, the three of us, they said, and I kid you not, Nathaniel said, it is the three of us. And I said, well, what if, and now I'm scared because this is a massive, massive project. So I'm like, so what if we don't sell? Like, what if this is like, he said to me, he's like, well, if we do not sell a cabin, it'll be the three of us on it. But either way, that ship is leaving in November, whether it's the three of us or more people. He's like, but I'm counting on you to help us sell it out. And so it went from there, and it was so, it went from there, and it was so much work.
Mm-hmm.
It was just beyond my understanding of what I would need to put into this thing. Like, if somebody said, yeah, you have to put a lot into it, but like, no, I put in like, not just me, the three of us put in our hearts, our soul, our blood, our sweat, our tears, our money, our like, it just so much went into this thing. I mean, working to 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, and I mean, those that work in like industries similar to mine, like dealing with new clients that, are really like, it's their vision, it's their baby. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it was Nathaniel and he wanted to bring this vision to life. I really felt responsible for helping to bring that vision to life. So it was very, very challenging in year one to just bring it to life, to breathe air in. And it's so interesting that you said the first time that you saw it was at Arrivals, because that was the first
Oh
public
wow.
promotion that we did was at Arrival. Well, I lied. No, we did. Yeah, at Arrivals in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
The second time we went out publicly, big time, was at Trinidad Carnival. We did flyers and tribes bags and all this other stuff for Trinidad Carnival. But yeah, Arrivals was the first event that we had an actual booth. Like it just was a big thing. I wasn't there, but Nathaniel was there. Daniel went, and we had a booth, and we had like our social media was going, and our website was going, and that was the first. So you literally experienced the first
Hmm.
time that we did any type of public promotion with Ubersoca Cruise as the first time
Wow.
we were out there like that in
Wow.
2015.
That's crazy. Yeah, I remember keeping the flyer for a while because I'm like sentimental like that. So I kept the flyer for a long time. I probably still have it somewhere. It was this little card.
Yes.
So when you signed on with them, like, and then you realized how big the project was, did you have to like fall back on some of your own projects, or did you still juggle that?
I juggled. So it was extreme. So 2015 was super tough because I was going through a divorce. You know, I picked up Uber Soco Cruise. I actually had government contracts and other clients that I was working with. And then I started another business called Social Box, which was like a digital photo booth. Like all the little cute photo booths they had
Hmm.
now. Like back then, it was like this big, thing I had bought into, and I had launched it in Bermuda that same year. So I'm juggling this second business, divorce. So I like deleted my feelings from the divorce, and then single motherhood, and just I had to ask my mom to come. Live with me in Bermuda. She was in Texas at the time, and she, thank God, was willing to almost not almost she did gave up her life to come to Bermuda and support all of the growth and hurt and pain and like
Hmm.
she just got right in there like moms do, right? And really supported me through that process. So 2015 was a very like mentally, emotionally, physically like exhausting year for me with all of this stuff kind of coming on because it was so good and you didn't want to lose any opportunities, and you just kind of have to delete the personal stuff going on and to really push forward. But yeah, so that was definitely a challenging year.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I don't know if you know, but like how, because it seems like Nathaniel secured the cruise before you came on board. But like, how challenging was that for him? Like, were they like, "What are you talking about? What event is this? Like, why would we allow you to do this?" You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think fortunately fortunately for any industry, money talks. You got the money, they're pretty much gonna say, yeah, okay. If you
Mhm.
fail, we still like the cruise industry is unforgiving, right? Like if you have the money, they're gonna let you do the cruise. Now, if you fail, you really, really lost out. So I mean, he was fortunate enough to be able to secure the cruise and lock it in. Um, and lock it in like differently. So in the past, like a lot of people would have probably said, start off with a partial charter, which means you take 50, 100 cabins or whatever, and you try and sell those, but it's still the normal cruise programming, but you get some designated venues on the cruise to do your little tidbits with your people, right? And that probably would have been a safer start. And there's other cruises that like start like that or whatever the case may be. But Nathaniel, God bless his heart, decided, no, I'm taking the whole entire ship and we're gonna do this. And I think that for the average part, I mean, I give Nathaniel his props all day and twice on Sundays. Like just to have the tenacity and the fortitude to, put himself out there, and take a risk like that was beyond anything that I had witnessed personally. Like you hear these stories of people, but that was a huge risk that he took, and I'm obviously I'm glad he did.
Hmm.
And being eventually very successful, but it didn't come with its like any other business venture hurdles um, and barriers to get over. But yeah, he did it.
Yeah. So I assume the team is bigger now.
And no, it is still the three. It is three. It's still the three of us in terms of the core executive team. There's been no expansion in that regard. We do have supporters and volunteers and other individuals, third party providers that we subcontract or work with. Pretty much when we get a little closer to sale, we bring in people, but the concepts and the creativity and the events and the scheduling and the lineup and the logistics, all that stuff is literally the three of us sitting up every week for a ungodly number of hours pulling all of those pieces together, and it really is like a lot. So it still is the core three that started in 2015. But yeah, no, we have many promotional partners and stuff like that around the world that help us, spread the word, get the information out, that help, give us advice, that recommend artists or recommend DJs and all that other stuff. So, still core three, but we have expanded our network and our tentacles with a massive team around the world.
Yeah, because I'm just like, I'm just wondering, because, I have like this operational mindset. So I'm just like, from the reaching out to artists, and I'm sure right now it's probably the reverse where people are trying to reach out to you to get on the cruise, right? But just that communication with artists and DJs, and just, I can't even imagine how many hours it takes to do that. And then I'm sure there are managers and lawyers and all these things involved. It's just mind blowing to me.
It is mind blowing to me every year we pull it off. To be honest, it is a lot. It's a lot of communication. It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of contracts. It's a lot of organization. It's a lot of logistics. This person is coming with me. This person can no longer come, or this DJ needs to be there, but this no, oh, never mind. This DJ changed. Flight changes here. Flight changes there. We are really like doing logistics for over 200. Of our internal 250 of our internal artists, DJs, managers, band members, staffing, volunteer. Like that logistics on its own is a monster. And it's always incredible when we pull it up. It's always, what's so funny is like it's so massive, and it deeply is funny to me when there is like a complaint, because I'm like, do you know? We're not booking 10 artists, right?
Right.
Like we're not booking 15, 20, 30, 40 artists. That in itself is crazy. We have 43 plus DJs alone. Like we are doing 80 plus artists and DJs from around the world at one single time. And that's one entity. So like major like carnivals, right? There's obviously all the artists and stuff are there, but individuals are bringing them in. Like individuals may bring in 2 or 3, 4 or 5, but we're bringing in 80 plus, plus their bands and plus all these other kind of individuals that they travel with. And that logistics on its own is absolutely insane. So like I said, like every time somebody's like, like I've been waiting 5 minutes for my transportation, I'm like,
You'll be okay.
it is, but I will say like the logistics part and working with all of the artists and DJs and managers has also been I would say smooth, because they all get it as well, right? Like they, for the most part, they get how challenging it is to navigate all of the nuances of just that portion of the sailing, even to get to that point. You gotta imagine what our spreadsheets look like, and just to get to that point. So I think for the most part, people, they get it, and they're very patient and understanding about like what that takes. So yeah, no, that is it's massive from an organizational standpoint. And you said you have that organizational structural mind. Like you can not imagine like the level of detail that has to go into something like Ubersoca Cruise.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because when I first went, I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like when you see the schedule, and it's literally, there are things happening all the time. And I'm just like, the movement itself, I'm just like, you have to give props.
If I can just say, like you just said, like all this stuff happening, like I don't think, like, so for 2023 this year that is about to be over with, we did 162 events between the 3 sailings that we have. Each sailing, we are curating 54 events. And in spring, we did 4 land events in 4 different countries in 4 days, and that to me was when I think I cannot do no more. But I think that we cannot do any more, and even me personally, from a physical and mental standpoint, and I always like am very like shocked, with the challenge that like Nathaniel kind of like puts on us as a team. And I always remember, I'm like, no, we can't do this too much. Let's slow walk it. And he's just like, we can do it. We got this.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very good at that. And we pull it off. And I'm like, we did it.
And people
Because
loved it. My friends.
40 countries, like Puerto Rico, that's our first time being in Puerto Rico. When I started doing site visits, that was my first time even going to Puerto Rico in any real capacity. And then to do business in Puerto Rico was a whole nother set of logistical challenges.
Mm.
Puerto Rico is quite expensive. Their port is smaller. Like it just was, it was a lot, just to do something in Puerto Rico. And then, to have to then leave Puerto Rico and do events in St. Martin, St. Lucia, and St. Thomas at full capacity. And what I will say, even with St. Thomas, we got to St. Thomas and it was beautiful. We didn't know that there was going to be a shutdown or like a holiday. It was deemed a holiday in St. Thomas, and we learned that on the ship on the way to St. Thomas that the government had announced that like schools were shutting down and like work days were shutting down half day to accommodate like us being on island. And I think that was beautiful, but it was something that we could not necessarily prepare for. We're expecting 4,000 or 5,000 people in the row with us, and then you get there and it's 19,000 people, and it's like, whoa, which is beautiful, and it is a testament to just the energy and the people and the culture and how we just enjoy what we do. But like it's massive in terms of logistical planning and just making sure it's the planning, but also making sure the experience is good for your passengers.
Yeah, my friends who went on that four country sailing were like, yeah, I'm gonna keep going back to that one because it was different, right? So like, we did Mexico and we did Jamaica, but I'm like, ooh, and I had sworn off of only because I'm like being very selective with where I go and how I spend my coins. It's like I can't keep going back to the same things. Let me try something new. But when that came out, I was like, ooh, I'm like, but I don't have the timing doesn't work for me. But
Yeah.
they loved that. They loved the way that y'all switched that up. So, which this is a good segue to when y'all introduced the two boat situation. What was the mentality behind that?
Well, the mentality was really to address the demand.
Hmm.
At that time, there was a huge demand for USC. One ship couldn't accommodate, the number of people that wanted to have the experience. So again, it was that demand, and kind of went with it. But it definitely, the back to back is very challenging as well. It's taxing on the body. And then I'm sure it's challenging for the entertainers as well, but they wrote it out like the pros that they are, they still had the energy for ship two, and it worked out very well. And we started just doing that consistency. So that started in our third year, and by the fourth year we sold out in 10 days, both ships. Yeah, 10 days in both ships. That's when we went to Turks.
Hmm.
And then for 2020, pre-COVID, we sold out both of our ships in 3 days.
That's
Two
crazy.
bigger ships in 3 days, completely gone. And I was completely shocked because we were in Trinidad when we released, for people to go in and book their cabins. And like our call center manager at the time was just like, we got to put out, we got to stop sales. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, we're done. We're done. I'm like, we talking both ships? She's like, yeah, like we're sold out. And we had to quickly do a sold out sign, because it went that
Wow.
fast. And it was just like, wow, and then of course COVID hit. And then we're like, no.
Dun dun.
Oh, yeah.
The two boat for me, I was one of those people like, no, not two boats, no, because I have this fear, and I think it's just trauma from the past. It's like whenever a promotion team, like whenever an event expands, right, to the point where it's like a second thing, like it's really hasn't gone well. So I'm of the team where it's like, no, just make it first come, first serve. And if they miss out, they miss out. But also, I'm like, but I get it. Like, I understand there's a demand. I'm like, but if y'all had just went 2016 when I was telling you to go, you would have caught on. But I was just so traumatized. I was just like, oh my God, I hope it's
No,
smooth.
it was traumatic. It was traumatic making the announcement, and I'm reading the comments, and I'm like, oh God, I'm like clutching my pearls. I'm like, oh gosh, like they are not happy with this decision. But you know what I will say, like the two ships have very like distinct energy about them. So it really, although like we do the same themes and the same events, and obviously it's the same artist. It carries on to second
Mhm.
ship. The energy is very different
Yeah.
on both ships, and I think like people that are like on ship two are watching ship one. I think they come with like, oh yeah, like we're gonna.
It was a whole competition. I think that's part of the thing where it's like, okay, well, you have friends that, well, this friend can go this weekend, but this other friend can only go this. So it became like this thing where it's like, okay, well, I'm not necessarily going to be with my people. And it did become a whole competition, like, okay, who did it best?
Yeah, I think that was unintentional. I was a bit surprised of like the ship one versus ship two thing. I didn't really understand it at first. It was definitely wasn't intentional at all. And sometimes you release things and you see the responses and you kind of like move accordingly. So we never got into the ship one versus ship two type thing. For us, it's just which ship are you going on, one
Mm.
or two. But I do know that I do know it's a bit of a like a ship one versus ship two type of kind of thing happening out there.
Yeah. And I did go to both Juves and Turks. I'm not gonna lie, ship two, it was a little more lit. Than the first time, but I think that's just because I think the days of the week were different, right? So it's
It was, and that's another thing. Sometimes things land on weekends, and you get it, and then people that have like days throughout the week off. You get just a different. It's a different crowd, and like just from an organizational standpoint, we go on there. Sometimes our staff and our artists are not sometimes every year our staff and our artists are seeing the ship for the first time.
hmm
They're experiencing. It's not like we can get on the ship with our cast of 200 and like rehearse,
right.
right? Like there's a lot of this stuff they're getting on, and what you're seeing them do is a testament of their professionalism and their experience, because they're doing it like for the first time. And when you see it, they're having to get from venue to venue, and I don't know, a deck, like doing all this at this. It is like in the moment, right? So it is interesting, and then like just putting together like ship one, like I guess ship two also kind of goes into like the smoother version
Mm,
of that. Ship one gets that very like raw, like everyone's coming on for the first time. Everyone's trying to find their way around and whatever the case. Ship two, like okay, we've been in here for 5 days. We got it, like I gotta be on stage, so it is a bit more like, on point as far as that is concerned. But I mean, there is some novelty in getting that raw experience as well.
yeah, okay. I feel like, and you touched on it a little bit, I feel like it's important for people to understand that the position that businesses are put in uncertain times. So can you speak briefly like on the impact that COVID had on like the cruise ship industry, just so that people can be like, oh, I didn't know that.
Right. Well, I'm sure. So, the cruise ship industry was impacted significantly. We were the last industry to bounce back from COVID. I mean, where flights were happening, trains, planes, automobiles, all that stuff. Cruises was not happening at all. So it took we took a incredibly crazy hit with COVID, more than the average, where people were able to go back in several months. Our industry wasn't back for several years, and even when we could have like um, potentially went out in 2022, there still was still some overflow of ignorance from COVID, and even in 2022. So we decided to like even not go out in 2022, really wanting to avoid what happened in 2021 and 2020. So we said 2023 would be the year that we go back out. But the cruise ship industry in general was severely impacted, and not only could they not go out anymore, just the reputation, like there was so much negative news that was going out, and some of the things that was interesting, if you go back and look at like what the actual cruise ships were doing to combat COVID, was significantly more than any other industry. Like they were putting in multiple, billions of dollars to make sure that they um, followed whatever guidelines and the like. And for whatever reason, they just couldn't get past the mark to be deemed safe again. So we decided, just with all of that going on, and our own market research, to just kind of, go out in 2023. But no, I think if you look back, we were the most heavily impacted industry in the world. Was the cruise ship industry, and that industry in general lost multiple billions of dollars. So we were unfortunately impacted. I mean, out of all the things, and some people said, "Oh, you guys should do a land event while you're waiting and stuff like that." But like we're a cruise. We do cruises. We have plenty of promotional partners and friends, that do land events, and we stay in our lane. We would rather support those that do the land events as they support us with our cruise events. So we decided to just stick it out and try to have a big comeback.
Yeah. Did you feel like the USC attendees were more forgiving than some, or
So I feel like we had a percentage of attendees that were 100% understanding and very loyal. Some of them, they stood beside us, through the entire COVID, and came back out with us in 2023. And to those passengers that did that, was, like, we are incredibly grateful for that loyalty and that commitment, and, that support. There were obviously a number of passengers that rightfully so decided to, um, do other things, which is fine. You have to make the best decision for yourself in tough times. So, but for the most part, like, we are incredibly like grateful for the passengers and loyal people that stayed with USC over the years. It was definitely a very like trying time. Do we think that we, lost some people during COVID? I'm most certainly think we have, and one day we hope to, regain those individuals. We love you. Come back. But it's business outside of this being very cultural and the USC family. Like, it's also like business. Like we are business individuals, and we are learning. We do make mistakes, and we do definitely try to make up for them and fix them as best we can. And I think we've tried our best to do so. So now we've come out of that, and we are very focused on just building off of the great experiences that people have had over the years. We have completed 9 sailings in 6 years, and we're very pleased with our ability to do that. So now we're going into our 10th sailing, not our 10th year, our 10th sailing, and we're excited to be able to organize that, and excited to welcome the passengers that do get one of those limited spots to come on board with us. So yeah.
very limited. What is your favorite part of the whole process? And a two-parter. So what's your favorite part of the process, but also, do you truly get to enjoy the experience while the sailings are happening, or do you feel like you're still working and doing all of the things?
Oh, I don't think I've been asked that question before. So the second one, my favorite part about working with Ubersoca Cruise is, to be honest, is working with my team. I mean, as much work, and I'm the only female, so that has its own bit of dimensions there. I truly enjoy every single meeting, every single phone call, every single opportunity that I have to engage and interact with Daniel and Nathaniel has been so personally impactful for me. So I truly enjoy the people that I work with, um, and that will always be the top of the long list of things I enjoy about Ubersoca Crew. It really is. It really is them, and it's been hard over the years, and we go at it like I am. Oh, I'm in it. I'm not no, like I'm going at it, and I disagree, and you this, and you that, and we're literally going at it for hours and sometimes days, and I recall us just always being able to come back to a place of peace and understanding and love and dedication and devotion, not just to Uber Soca Cruise, but to each other. Like we understand holistically what we want to do and what the vision and the objectives are. So we always tend to like come back in even some of our hardest moments. I mean, there's days that Nat and I would just be going back and forth, and I'm not even talking to him anymore. Like, you can text me, email me. You can't even text me no more. You got to email me from now on out, like put all your requests in writing, and then it's like that call is like, okay, Joe, let's get back to what we know. And, we're able to like get back to that, but this is a massive undertaking. So it's going to come with those very tough, moments, but that is by far the best thing that I love about USC is the people that I work with.
Awesome.
And then two, to your question is, do I get to enjoy the experience? On some of the sailings I have, particularly on the back-to-backs, ship 2 is more an opportunity for me to relax a little bit. And that's because like now like my staff has done it, so everyone already like knows what's happening. People are like firing on all cylinders, like this is already done, the balloon's already blown up, this is already done, and you're like, oh, what can I do now? It's like, go have fun, go have a drink, go mingle. And so ship 2 is normally when I'm able to really, really like let my hair down and enjoy myself. But it's challenging, right? Because this is my place of business as well. So I'm pretty reserved. So if I go have a drink or a little dance or something, I tend to be a little bit more reserved just because this is my workplace.
Yep.
This is a fun place for everybody else. But I'm not trying to be on camera, cutting loose.
You don't want to be on Follow Soca?
Huh?
I said you don't want to be on Follow
No,
Soca?
I don't. I do not want to be on Follow Soca. I avoid Follow Soca. I love to read other people's stuff, but I am not trying to be a feature on Follow Soca.
That's fair. That is fair. I remember was it the first year or the second year? One of them sailings, there was an impromptu powder fete in the atrium. And I'm like, again, my brain was like, oh my God, are they gonna get in trouble?
Whew, those impromptu things, boy, I have stories for days of, and some of them I don't even know. The funny part is, I would say like this with the DJs and the artists and the entertainers that's on board. Some of this I don't even know about. I don't know about till post cruise. So I see videos and I'm like, what? Where did that happen? What is, and it just, because yeah, I mean, we're on these people's boat. This is not our ship. This is not our vessel. We're just borrowing it per se. We have to return it the way in which we got it. So some of these things, like my blood is like, oh, that's bad. And I'm like, Matt, did you get a call about the powder in the atrium? Like, what's going on with the powder in the atrium? So those things are definitely like, but it helps to like create these really, really special moments that our passengers enjoy. But like internally, like from a business perspective, yeah, like my heart is like, like, like not too much, put it down, put it down, put it down.
Because my brain was like, I was like, oh my God. And then fast forward to the next year, and I'm like, is that why they didn't get the Norwegian back? Is that why they went to Carnival? Did they get in trouble?
No, I mean, fortunately enough, you know, like, so the Ubersoca Cruise brand, like, rings bells in the cruise industry. They know our programming at this point in time. Back then, they were, I'm sure a lot of them were very shocked, you know, but now it's like they know our programming, you know, to the extent of what we reveal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we want some surprise elements as well. But so they know our program. But yes, those moments are very touch and go for us. I mean, and we also have to like think about, you know, safety and like you said, like, you know, this
Right.
is a cruise ship. This is not our ship. So when we're picking up stuff and running with it, we need to make sure we put it down gently.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing. Let me know if you have any questions for me. Happy to answer them.
Sure. No, I do have a question for you, and it's more so about like, you know, your unique USC story. And I know you mentioned that you saw it and you wanted to give it a try, but from USC, has any additional things come spawned out of it that you're like, I'm glad I went. You know, I was able to network with this person. I was able to go here, whatever the case. I'm always very interested in knowing like what people got out of attending USC because we want it to be so much more than I'm going to party on a cruise for 5 days. We want those, you know, those intimate interactions, and we've had proposals, and we've had married, we've had babies come. You know, saying what is your USC? This is what I got from its story.
Definitely the networking and just you know what? No, here's this. What I love, one of my favorite things is witnessing the artists relax or just enjoy themselves and be amongst each other because it feels like they don't really have that opportunity. And so that first year, and I'm seeing, you know, Patrice hanging out with Lyrical, and everybody's just having like these casual conversations, and you see them having a good time when they're not performing and just being silly, right? And being in the dining hall amongst, the regular people. And so that really touch my heart. And then when I go home and then I see all the behind the scenes footage of them in their cabins and I'm like, oh, that song was made on Uber Summer Cruise. You know, like it's really nice to connect the dots, right? And to see them just having a good time doing what they love around the people that they love. Um, for me, I was just super duper impressed by the first sailing because I'm just like, in my mind, there was not one thing that went wrong. There wasn't one thing that I could complain about. I'm sure y'all may have a different view from the back end, but to me, I was just like, I'm just so impressed that this thing like went off without a hitch, you know, especially being the first one. It was my first time in Jamaica, first time on a cruise ship. So I was just like, this is perfect. This was absolutely perfect. And then moving forward, Mexico wasn't my favorite only because of just the Juve site. It was just super
A
duper
little rocky. Yeah.
rocky.
A little rocky.
There was no sun. They were like Jamaica was like straight free, right? So I don't remember there being a barricade between like us and the stage. And then for Mexico, it was like they were holding us back a little bit. I was just like, I don't know. Aesthetically, Mexico wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah, Mexico was tough. You know, we have to find venues that, you know, 3,000-4,000 people can fit in. That is by the port. That is always
Yeah.
challenging because some of these ports don't have that empty venue space. Some of them don't have that beautiful, pristine beach that we want to be on. So you have to kind of carve out spaces and really, really figure out like where you can do events without busing. Can you imagine busing
Hmm.
3,000 people, 50 people at a time? You know, it would take all day just to get people to the venue. So it definitely was like some of these, like making some of these decisions have to do with location
Yeah.
for sure. So I kind of agree. Like, you know, like Mexico was it was rocky. It was a bit odd in terms of what we're familiar with. And honestly, like the Mexicans had no idea what we were doing. Like there was a lot for them. It was a lot
It showed.
for them.
They're
Little
like, what's
little
going
I'm like I can't speak Spanish, so I'm like trying to like take in what they're saying, and I'm like, no hablo, no, I'm sorry. Like, wait, what do you need me to do? Like, I'm like, And Daniel, Carly and Keith speak Spanish. I'm like, Daniel, tell him I'm sorry. Like, tell him we're gonna stop it. We're gonna, their equipment, and it was just like all these complaints. It was such a challenge. Some of the behind the scenes, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because you had that experience, but we had the equal experience, like trying to just get it off, and like for them not to cancel it,
Yeah.
because they were very much like, you're getting water on the
Mhm.
equipment, you're getting paint, and we're like, oh, sorry, this is what we
Yeah.
do.
And what else happened? I wasn't in love with the Carnival boat. I was
No.
spoiled by Norwegian.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. I agree. Again, I agree 100%. We have not been on Carnival since that one, and so I agree. Wasn't in love with Carnival. I don't think they got it, and the ship itself,
Hmm.
just didn't align with the type of experience that we wanna give. That's my political response.
I love it. No, yeah, it wasn't doing it for me. And then, but the thing that I always love is just the amount of activities, right? Like if I'm a morning person, I can find my thing. If I'm a late night person, I can find my thing. And sometimes you have to push yourself through to go to. It's impossible to do everything unless you go for like 5 minutes, right? But I just loved having the option. And I think one of the things that I always used to give you all kudos on was just the way that you market, the way that you promote. It's attractive, it's digestible. I'm just like, they got it going on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
You're
so much. And
welcome.
it's actually one of my other favorite things about USC is just the sheer convenience, right? Like, and I'm a little biased. Everyone knows who I am and what I do, but I'm a little biased when it comes to like experiences now. Like for me, I love the fact that we can get on. I don't have to get an Uber to go from event to event. I don't have to worry about driving 45 minutes
Yeah.
to or an hour to a destination, having a good time, and then driving back home halfway hot. Like it just presents this level of convenience that I am now accustomed to. So, like I said, like I want my food, I want my drinks where I want a seat, I want to be able to tap out and tap back in when I want to. Like it's just like it gives like all of that. So you can go and 5, 10, 100 people can go on USC and have 100 different experiences.
Yep.
You have the people that enjoy being around the culture and the music, but don't really want to do the fat. They don't really want to be in the middle, but they're going to be in the hot tub enjoying the music, watching the people watching. They're going to go to the specialty dining and sitting with beautiful people that look like them, and they're going to hear the music in the hallway. So they're just having that tamed, really, really grown and sexy experience. And then you have people that's like, I'm coming to fet, what I'm saying? And they're in everything, and they're making sure that they're in the center and front stage. And then you have people that's like, I'm coming to mix and mingle and meet
Hmm.
people. I'm coming from a business perspective. I want to book some artists. You can have so many different experiences on that one ship that I find very, very fascinating. And even as I get feedback from clients, or customers or passengers, the USC family, would just say that, like, as I get feedback and people's like, oh, I met this person and we started a business together, or this person and I, we're now dating and engaged to be married, or this person and I, we were going through a rough time and ended up coming on USC and having the best time of our lives. We got pregnant, and now we're having our USC baby. We actually have a story like that, which is I love. Like now I'm like following the parent who's about to have a baby. She sends me the ultrasound pictures. It's a USC baby. Like she got pregnant in spring, and the baby's about to come out in a few months. Little boy, and those stories and those unique experiences and those memorable moments, like it never gets old to hear them. It
Hmm.
never like we just really like when we have meetings with people or call people, we're just like, tell us more, like tell us what your experience was, because it's so many different experiences that come out of USC that's beyond us
Right.
as organizers. We always say we put it together and we get out the way. Like the magic happens on the ship. The magic is through the entertainers and the artists and the DJs and the passengers, and even the staff, the ship staff and our staff. Like that's the magical stuff that we cannot curate.
Mhm.
Like we put the framework together. We build the car, but everyone else comes in and drives the car. That's the experience that everybody wants to have. And working with artists like Lyrical and Allison and Nyla and managers like Anson and Andrew and Andre, and it just is very like seamless. Like they just know. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just no. And it's not like you need to be here at this time. And we have a little bit of that, like, yeah, you're a little late for we have that. Can't lie. But for the most part, we get out of their way and let them be great,
Mhm.
and let them carry, let everybody carry the experience that they want to have. So we take no ownership in that actual experience because it's a collaboration of multiple minds and energy and vibes and people that are on the ship. We have people from all around the world that bring different energies, and when that's mashed up in one, like that's something
Yeah.
we can't take any credit for.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I thank you all for the great idea because I am now again more of a cruise line snob than I was before because I don't want to do any other type of experience if it doesn't look like that.
No, honestly, we hear that all the time, and I always tell people like USC has carved out almost an entire different industry for the cruise line.
Hmm.
To date, we've taken out roughly about 30,000 passengers, and I would arguably say that about 90 something percent of them were first time cruisers.
Yeah.
And now they cruise. They don't have the experience at USC on other cruises, but have continued to cruise over the years, and it's quite interesting. Like you said, like I always tell people, like once you don't think that this is a regular cruise. Like if you go on a regular cruise, you're gonna be quite disappointed. This is not regular, so keep booking with USC.
Yeah, it's very different. But thank you so much for joining me. I cannot wait to publish this, but share with the people where they can connect with you if they're looking for a little PR work. Uh,
Yeah, if you are interested in any type of marketing, PR, legal service support, large scale event management, all that stuff we do, you can check out myself and my team at thebranddevelopmentgroup.com, Brand Dev Group on IG. And of course, if you're looking to book Ubersoca Cruise, please do so. We have limited supply in 2024, so get your spot now while there's still availability. You can RSVP now by simply going to our website or checking out our Instagram. The link is in our bio. If you're not familiar with USC, get familiar at ubersocacruise.com or at ubersocacruise in all of our social media platforms. We are the world's first and only largest soca themed cruise, soca themed festival, carnival at sea, whatever you guys want to define us as. We are the first, only, and what I would argue is the best. So please get to know us. Give us an opportunity. We'd love to earn you and welcome you into the USC family. And thank you for having me.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for this interview. Thank you for asking questions that no one's asked before and letting us share our story to your audience. And we're looking forward to sharing this as well. So thank you.
Yay, thank you.